Hey guys, welcome to Brotherhood Forged.
I'm Joey, and hanging with me is my buddy Paul.
We're just two normal guys following Jesus and trying to lead our families well.
We started this to build a place for real talk, real growth, and real brotherhood.
If you're about faith, leadership, and showing up when it's tough, you're in the right spot. If you like what you hear, hit the share button or leave a review. It helps way more than you know.
Let's get into it. Father, you deserve all the glory. We're so grateful for the gift of leading our homes, Father. Forgive us when we're frustrated, when we check out emotionally. Let us grow in patience, courage, and presence. Help us lead with love, listen with empathy, and show up with purpose. Let our mindset reflect your truth and our actions reflect your heart. Make us men who bring peace, not pressure, who lead by example, not by ego. We want to honor you in how we love our wives and how we raise our kids. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. All right, today we're hopping back into mindset, part of that mini series. Probably put a bow on it today, see where things go with it. But really want to talk about the mindset traps we can bring home, and usually without realizing it. The mistakes don't just affect us; usually it trickles down to our whole family, our wives, our kids. It kind of leads to the atmosphere that we create once we enter that door, coming home from work or wherever we're coming home from.
Yeah, people often you think of mindset as just for a career or I want to work out or I want to accomplish something. But it's so much more than that. And like you said, Paul, we bring that home and often more that negative mindset can really impact our families. And it's most tested in marriage and parenting. In this episode, we're going to unpack the mindset mistakes and how they sabotage our homes, our families, and the tools and practices that might help you show up, and be more grounded, more patient, and intentional. And that's hard. We're not perfect at it, but we do have some tools that we've learned and some research we've done as well. So we're going to share that with you today.
Yeah, and I'm really glad you brought up patience, man, because it's one of those things that I think all of us, as we go through life and parenting and marriage and just anything in general, you're not just born with it. For the most part, I think maybe some people are, but most of us, man, it's a skill and almost like a muscle where you're going to work out and you have to keep putting those reps in. Otherwise, you don't really know what to do when something comes at you. And if you haven't put those reps in to build your patience or strengthen it, then you're just not ready for it.
Patience absolutely doesn't come natural for me. It's intentional. And it does get easier, like you said. Maybe it is easy for some people. It's absolutely not easy for me. I'd say it's not easy for my wife as well, and that's fair. I'm not the most easiest guy to probably get along with at times. I definitely can push her patience. She can push mine. My son, of course, like I said, he's older, but he definitely pushed my patience when he was at home. But yeah, it's tough. It's work. But with the right tools, it does become manageable and much easier.
And I would say too, there's no right size fits all, or nor like there's no magic tool for any of this stuff. Like my oldest will be 10 this year. So I've never actually parented a 10-year-old until she turns 10. The same thing for when she turns 13 or my youngest. Whenever they get to a certain age or a certain milestone, you don't really know what challenges come with that age until they are there. Until it's a reality. Same thing with marriage too. I think you hit milestones of 5, 10, 15, 20 years, 25 years, but there's different situations that come at you through different periods of life. And it's like what may have worked for you at this point may not be the thing that works for you at that point. So it's always kind of keeping an open mind to say, all right, I know that it's something I had to work on before. This has helped me. How can I continue to build off it too?
Yeah, you nailed it right there when you said you got to keep an open mind. That's just so crucial. When we respond or we react, how you respond or react to a difficult situation and responding takes way more strength, right? Takes way more effort than reacting. In the heat of it, you're either building trust or you're breaking it. What legacy do you want to leave behind?
Ooh, that's a great way to put it, because I think we're always modeling behaviors too, whether it be younger kids or our spouses or just people watching us in general. We're always modeling a certain behavior. And I think if we are reacting too quickly instead of responding, then we're modeling that behavior. And you could become known as that guy with the quick temper, the guy that doesn't handle stress well very quickly based off how you demonstrate, how you handle those things too. So the legacy that you leave behind, I think, is a great point.
Yeah. You talked about, like we talked about reacting. And I reacted for most of my marriage because I didn't know the difference, honestly, between reacting and responding. And responding, you take that deep breath. You think about how you're going to say, you think about what you need to say, and it doesn't always happen. We still get triggered, right? Sometimes we still react. but responding is something I definitely do far more than react these days, thanks to the tools we've learned. Unfortunately, I learned mine a little bit later, but as we talked prior to starting this today, just because I learned some of the tools that you're learning at a younger age doesn't just means that I just need to be intentional, and in better late than never.
Mhm. And part of that legacy piece too, though, is just 'cause it took you a different stage or longer in your marriage than you wish it would have, doesn't mean you can't help pass that on to the next person too. So it's those
Yeah.
things often that we learn throughout life that we can help the next person not have to go through this many of the steps or challenges that we did. That's the real impact you can have of leaving that kind of stuff behind. And you said too, the really big piece about how you're trying to respond more than react. I think that was an actual mindset flip for myself that I had to think about. When I think of the word react, this may be negative in a sense, but I think about reacting, I just think it's negative. So my reaction, whether that be like, mostly in communication, if there's like a reaction or something I have to do like out in my life or whatever, like to avoid something dangerous, sure, that can be a reaction. But I think of a response as always a more positive thing. Usually when I'm reacting in communication or something my kids do, it's because I have a short fuse based off whatever happened throughout my day. My patience are really tested. I've been really stressed out. It's like as soon as that short fuse is hit by something they say or do or didn't do when I ask them 100 times to do it, I usually react negatively. And that leaves such a long-term negative impact. I feel like it's a mark that leaves such negative impact that you don't want to. So it's like really thinking about the mindset of like, how do I want to respond in this moment? How often do I actually take a breath before I respond to it? And really trying to catch yourself before you do it. Doesn't make it easier, doesn't make it perfect, but it's all about like building up that space in between it.
Yeah. Reaction. What comes to my mind as well is actually yelling, getting mad, getting angry. But then as you were talking, I was thinking about there's also you can react positively as well. But I hadn't even considered a positive reaction. I'd always think of, I react because I'm mad at this situation. Or I'm frustrated.
Usually we wouldn't talk to our coworkers or our boss the way we sometimes think it's okay to talk to our family or our children. And really that leaves such a long-term, like that long-term mark. You're setting that standard. You have a chance to model to them, hey, I've had a bad day. This is how I'm going to model it, opposed to like, I had a bad day at work, so now I'm going to take it out on you. It's like that. I think that's just such a negative, I don't know, just a negative trajectory that course can go down for them, because it teaches them also, dad had a bad day. This is how dad handles it. I'm going to have a bad day. This is how I'm going to handle it. I'm going to talk like this is my little sister. I'm going to talk like this is my friend. So it's really that awareness and that modeling. How do you want your kids to handle situations as you go through them? You're teaching them how to do it themselves or for themselves too.
Yeah, if we forget the people we love the most, we take the most crap out on. It's so easy to do because we take them for granted.
Mm-hmm.
With the way we talk to ourselves, we wouldn't accept that from anyone. Most people, I know of me, the way sometimes I'll talk to myself, I wouldn't accept it from anyone. Not from my spouse, not from my closest friend, but I can talk to myself in that negative manner. But yeah, that's a good point. A point that I really didn't even consider.
Well, as you said that too, I was thinking about this one, man. Throughout the course of our day, all the stuff that come at us, like the external stuff that really causes our stress or causes us to have a bad day, that's not usually our fault either. Unless it is, then there's obviously some ownership that you have to take a part of and really look at yourself and audit yourself. But if you're not causing your stress, if your kids aren't causing you to have that bad day, why take it on those people that had nothing to do with it? Too often they feel that release or that reaction that we have, and it's so unfair, but it's also so understandable. I'm not trying to like make anybody feel bad for doing this, because we've been there, right? I still have days
Right.
where I have to like literally catch myself before I walk in the door, because I know they're going to be so excited to see me. And if I walk in there stressed out, what message does that send to them?
Yeah, you did guilt me a little bit there. I think of the days I come home from work and things maybe didn't go great, and my wife will greet me with, like, "Hey, how you doing? How was work?" And I don't necessarily react in a way that returns that pleasantry that she just gave me.
Hmm.
Like you said, we're human, but yeah, thank you. Sometimes we need a little kick in the gut.
Well, and as I share that, man, I'm literally picturing myself in the days where I don't handle it well, in the days where they're just so excited to run up to me and give me a hug. And if I don't match their energy in that way, what am I teaching them? That you can't approach dad when he gets home from work? Like, that's not the message I want them to have in my house. So I got to catch myself on it too. And I think all this stuff that we share, man, it's because we've been through it. So I
Yeah.
think it is super relatable for guys, and I think it's one of those things where we're never trying to guilt anybody. It will come up, but we make ourselves feel guilty all the times too, but it's really bringing this stuff to light, shine that light on it, and getting that community and the resources around it to really help get you through it.
Because Paul, most guys, they think they can't talk about this stuff and they think they're alone. But fellas, you're not alone. Paul and I have just learned to express this with other men and be open and honest about it because honestly, if you have no one to talk to, you need to find someone
Mhm.
because there's a lot of healing in having someone you can share that with. So one of the reasons we're doing what we're doing.
Yeah, like you said, man, the talking about it stuff. We just released the mini episode where we talked about how Amber was on me about being on my phone too often. And I'm not going to name any names, but two of my buddies reached out to me and said they just had the same conversation from their wives as well. So I think if all three of us are getting it from our wives that are friends, it's on us, right? So it's about having that ownership and owning up into it and then saying, okay, let's shine a light in this together and really try to kick this thing.
Yeah. How about like, you get the pressure at work, like performance pressure. I mean, most people, they carry work stress through the front door like it belongs there. You come to the door and you bring that home. It doesn't belong there, but it's so easy to bring that home. How might someone learn to leave that at work?
There's a couple things that work for me, right? Right now I have a shorter commute and sometimes I am working remote, so it's harder. There's different things that work for different people. But when I had a longer commute, I could kind of process things through the car ride, trying to be productive in that way to really prepare myself. But there was a podcast I heard where a guy would literally get home from work and he would go in his front yard and he'd hang on a tree branch. And his kids asked him, like, what are you doing? He'd hang on that branch. He'd kind of decompress physically and mentally because you decompress your spine. Then he eventually told him, he said, I when I cross through that door, I hang all my problems from work on that tree branch. When I leave the next day, I go pick them back up. I don't bring them home with me. And I'm not saying you got to find a tree branch. You might not have that, but there's so many different things you can do. Just get creative with it and think of ways where you can like compartmentalize that part of yourself to stay behind or literally, I don't know, throw it in the garden, throw it wherever and just kind of prepare yourself to walk through the door.
Yeah, find what works for you. That's really good. I got a 45-minute commute each way. I just leave it there. On the way home, I'm listening to a podcast or a sermon or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally, before I get out of the car, I leave it there. It's a learned behavior.
Yeah.
It's a skill. So if you're not there, but you want to be there, find out what works for you.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're all different. Like you said, Paul, there's not a one size fits all.
Yeah. And I think another thing too is keep going at it. If the one thing you try doesn't work, try another. There's so many different ways, like exercise, for example. There's so many different ways to get fit. What works for one person may not work for the next one, but it doesn't mean you should stop. You should keep trying to find that thing that works for you and makes it feel the most comfortable and most natural for you too.
I try to remember my home. It's not my job. It's where I get time to breathe.
Yeah.
It's where I get time to recharge. I mean, kind of that simple, but it's not that easy. So many, I'll say that often, guys, because it's simple, but it's not easy. Because it's not fair to your kids, your spouse, your dog, who's always happy to see you,
Mm-hmm.
to bring that stuff home.
I think even fair to yourself too, because if you're not giving yourself that chance to unwind in your own house, if you can't get it there, where are you going to get it? And it's just you're going to keep stressing yourself out to the point where your health may take a toll. Everything may take a toll. So at some point, you got to have kind of a mindset practice of how do I allow myself to unwind? And if you don't have it, try to find that for yourself. Because like we said, it's not fair for you because eventually you just can't keep running that way.
Stress, it's one of the top killers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the numbers, so we're not a science show, but I know stress is a real killer. It causes disease, and it's not a good thing.
I would imagine Huberman's got a pretty good episode on that, but he's way smarter than we are. So we'll let him keep the stats.
Dude, and his podcasts are way longer too. So
Yeah.
he's crazy smart. I can't even sit through a 2-hour podcast.
Yeah.
I just can't do it.
There's so much knowledge though.
So we're not trying to be Huberman.
Right. I think another mistake, man, we talked about the performance thing and how guys can take it home with them. And another one that I've fallen victim to myself or allowed myself to fall victim to is the I'm doing everything story. If we start to tell ourselves that we're doing everything, it kind of goes along with that performance thing too. It's sneaky. When you start keeping score, you start thinking, I did this, she didn't do this, so I have to do this. Resentment can creep in. You start to feel like you're not being seen, you're not being heard. you start to build assumptions, and you can really ask yourself, like, man, am I actually assuming the best or the worst in my spouse? Because if you start to allow it to creep in, you can go all in on assuming the worst, and that's just going to take you down a dark path I don't think you want to go down.
Yeah, that's a marriage killer for sure. And I've been there. I've been resentful because it's not fair. You don't know what they're doing when you're not there. And it's not about keeping score. But yeah, fellas, if you're keeping score, if you're resentful, you need to figure out a way to not do that because, or ladies, whoever's listening, right? That's not going to help make for a happy marriage for sure.
We talked a couple times about that one, so forgive me if you've heard this one before, but Darren Hardy in The Compound Effect, when he talked about doing a gratitude journal every single day for his wife, a friend of his came to him and said he was really unhappy with his marriage. And Darren was like, dude, from the surface, everything I see about your marriage, I think it's incredible. Like, I think people actually would be jealous of the connection that you guys have. And this guy talked about how he was super resentful. He was super judgmental and like kind of in a dark place. And Darren was like, all right, for every single day, I want you to think about something you appreciated about your wife, some kind of gratitude. It could be the way she dressed, the way she brushed her hair, the dinner she made, the way she got your kids ready for school, whatever it is. Come up with something every single day. He was going through kind of a struggle place with his wife. She messed up her back, so she couldn't do a lot of stuff around the house, and he was starting to feel resentful. So I shared this with him, and he actually said it was super powerful because what he did is he said he found himself thinking of ways or seeing ways where he was ungrateful or that he wasn't appreciative. But when you flip the lens, you're constantly trying to find something throughout the day that you do appreciate. Some days this could be harder than others. Some days you might have to like really stretch the limits because you guys aren't getting along. If you're looking for negatives, you're going to find negatives. If you're looking for positives, you want to be grateful, you'll find something to be grateful for. Sometimes it may just take longer. But if you're doing that for 365 days, that's a pretty powerful gift you can give somebody and yourself and your marriage.
Honestly, I don't even have anything to add to that. The things I was thinking about as you were talking, you covered them all. But yeah, in general, if we just focus on the positive in people, most people, you're going to find that it's really hard to feel poorly about them, dislike them, whatever the case may be. I try to focus on the positive now in life in general. And then there's some people that I used to be closer to that I'm not close to anymore, that they always focused on the negative. And I just decided that don't need them in my circle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I still love them. They're just at a distance. They're not in my inner circle. Just no place for it. It'll drag you down.
Yeah, this is an analogy that Zach Holm, he's a powerlifting coach, and I does a lot of men's coaching too. He's out in Indianapolis. He talked a lot about, this stuck with me because he talked a lot about your body and your mental health is literally like your cell phone. So if you're running apps through it all day long, if you're scrolling through it all day long, you get to a certain point where like you have to plug it back in. So how often in life are we allowing things like that to be around us that do drain our battery unintentionally, and then we don't have the battery we want for other things like our kids or our wife? You only have so much battery throughout a day. So really protect yourself and where you allow your battery to get drained at.
I was thinking about, you're talking about keeping score. And so often when you're at a bad spot in your marriage, you think of yourself as opponents on different teams, but your partners,
Mhm.
right? Your partners. And some days she's going to make the big play. Some days it's you. But you're not opponents. And if you are opponents, you need to work on getting back on the same team and putting the same jersey on. And that's just so important. And if you're both tired, stop measuring. Start giving grace. You both need grace at times, and maybe you're going to be the one that gives her grace at first, and then she's going to see that, and maybe you'll get it in return. Having said that, expectations, do it for the right reason. Don't do it expecting reciprocation of whatever you've done for her, because then we get back to resentment. That's always a possibility. So when you're doing things with a pure heart for the right reasons, and that's like giving a homeless person or someone on the side of the street that needs money.
Mhm.
You're going to give them money worried about what they're going to spend it on, then don't give it.
Right.
Because I can honestly say, if I give money to someone because I think they need it, once I've given it, I don't judge. You got to give it with an open heart, and that's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
When you're doing something for your spouse, don't do it with something expected in return.
Exactly, man. And you talked about being on the same team, and like there are times where we are gonna be tired. Instead of thinking that, man, I'm more tired than she is because I did more than she did or whatever it is, like instead of building that resentment, communicate that. Just say, I had a really long day today. I'm tired. And you probably hear them say the same response. And then it's a matter of, it's almost, this, when you ever do physical activity with someone, like a workout, a really hard thing, like you bond together. So if you guys are communicating over that to be like, it's just a stressful day. I'm so worn out. They're like, oh my gosh, so am I. You guys are starting to
Yeah.
bond right there through that communication. Then if you knock out the dishes, then if you knock out the lunches, whatever it is, you're working together for a shared goal, a shared purpose while you're both tired. And it's just a matter of communicating where you're at. Sometimes someone has more energy or more left in the tank than the other person. If you communicate how bad of a day you had or how stressed out you are, maybe your spouse didn't have that bad of a day. They're like, oh, you know what? I got you. And then you can do the same for
Yeah.
them on a day where you got more in your tank. Instead of letting that resentment kick in, use communication.
That's good. So we're recording this on Memorial Day evening. So Monday evening, it'll be coming out on Wednesday. So we had one of those days today, Bobby and I, where we worked our butts off. We didn't do the same things, but we both worked our butts off. There was no keeping score. I did one thing, she did another. And like you said, that the bond of working together, and then when we were done, we saw what we accomplished together, dude. That just felt so good because it felt like a teamwork. And being Memorial Day, thank you to all those that have served and those that have given their lives. We were extremely grateful. Do not take that for granted. I know neither Paul or I do. I did not serve in the military. I don't know, Paul, did you?
I did not.
But I had family that have.
Same.
So we're grateful.
Absolutely, man. No, I'm glad you brought that point up earlier too about the communication that you guys had as working together through that stuff. Because I think one thing we can also get lost in is the ownership of whose responsibility it is to fix it. And you and I both are very plugged into almost the extreme ownership of it. Where if there's something wrong, it's my responsibility, or I didn't communicate it correctly. I got to figure out a way to own it and then correct it from there. I think a lot of times we can fall into that passive leadership type thing where you wait for your wives to start leading the family, or if there is a rut, you're expecting them to do something to fix it. And when you do that, you're kind of taking that step back, and your silence is the message that's going out that you don't want to go out, because then your family's watching you. They know you're unsure. They know you're not making the right moves, the right steps, and your kids see that. So it's like, how do you want your legacy of leadership within your family to go? It's like, who am I waiting for in that moment? And then become that for yourself. Become that for your family.
And Paul, you just talked about that ownership piece. And I think men in general, we always are looking to fix things, right? They just want connection.
Yeah, the hard part with that is we overthink it, and we think it has to look a certain way, or X plus Y equals Z, that type of thing. But it's like, man, just break it back down. Like we talked about, I think, in the marriage one, where it's like, what's your end outcome? What's your goal? How do you want things to go? What are you truly looking for in this moment? And if it is to increase communication, to get better connection with your family, to have movie night, to have date night, whatever it is, express that, communicate that, and just be present. I think being present is what builds the trust. Being around, being involved, being present, being not on your phone, me, right? Like I still have to learn that one. It's just being there so they know, like, I think that shows that you're reliable, and then whatever problems you may have can naturally fix themselves with you being present. But if you're gone trying to figure out how to fix it, you're kind of missing the forest for the trees.
You talk about presence, and how often do you go out to a restaurant and you look around you and you'll see a family of 4, 6, whatever. They're all on their phones. They're not even communicating. My wife and I, one of our rules is we don't have our phone out.
Right.
But generally, we are connected. So just because you're doing something together doesn't mean you're connected. That has to be intentional.
Right.
I think social media, I think our electronic devices can severely get in the way if we allow it to. And then parents are using iPads as babysitters, and it breaks my heart.
Just about being distracted.
Yeah, you can be together and not be present.
Mm-hmm.
So just be mindful of your electronic devices, your distractions. You might be in a sports bar with your wife and you might be watching the ball game and not paying attention to her. Just be mindful. It's really important.
Yeah, I think a big piece of that too is being present, not being preoccupied, because how often can you be missing the chance for someone to like what if your daughter or your wife wanted to tell you something and you're with her, you're watching a movie or whatever, but you're also on your phone. So it's like, are you actually available for them when they may need you in that moment? And I think a lot of times, not to pass shame or guilt, because I've been there too. I think that sometimes we can miss that mark because we're so busy multitasking. There's so many things that we are trying to do where you do sit down to watch a movie. It's like, oh shoot, I still got to check 3 or 4 different emails. It's like, Yeah, I get it. So I think it's just really kind of checking back in with him too, because what if she did want to tell you about her day? What if there's something that she really wants to get off her chest, or maybe there's a vacation she wants to plan with you? You never know. And if we're buried in our phones, then we're not going to see it. So again, Paul, get off your phone, man.
Sometimes the strongest thing we can say is nothing.
Mm.
Just be an ear. Just listen to them. That's a skill I'm getting better at. If any of you haven't seen, there's a short YouTube video out there called Nail in the Head.
Hmm.
Watch it. Watch it. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say. You might want to watch that. It's really good. And ask, do I make space to just simply listen?
Hmm.
Do I just, because they need that.
Yeah, that's a good reflective question that I think a lot of us can really do a better service to ourselves and our spouses and even our coworkers or our kids. Like, do we provide that space just to listen?
It's so important.
Yeah, I think as we wrap this one up, just to piggyback off that though, none of us are perfect, but if we can catch these mindset mistakes, we can course correct. And it's about really auditing the experience and kind of knowing where we're at so that we know where we can go to get better.
We're definitely not perfect. And the things Paul and I are talking about, we're not claiming to be experts on anything. We have been through things. We have had some training that you may not have had. And it's our duty to share these tools that we've learned. Sometimes we have to do research on some of the stuff we're talking about. We're talking about a lot of different things, so we want to make sure we have the correct information, stuff that we've learned.
Before we get to the takeaway skills,
think about this, folks. Your family, they don't need perfect. They need present.
Mm.
They don't need a perfect dad. She doesn't need a perfect husband. She needs a husband that's going to be present, that's going to be paying attention to her. The kids need the same.
Well said, man.
Okay.
Ask the questions, go through the mindset stuff and really ask yourself, are you leading the way that you want? The right way where it matters most? Are you becoming the man or the woman or the version of yourself that you want to be based off the mindset that you have, based off the way you show up, based off the leadership that you display within your family? And if not, that's fine, because we've all been there, right? I think there's the version that you see and hear of me wouldn't be here if I wouldn't have dove into things. And I'm sure the same is for you, man. Like if I wouldn't have been willing to do the work on myself, I would not be where I'm at today. It's still not where I want to be, but it's closer to it. And the more we talk about these things, like I said earlier, the more we shine a light on it. So me and you having these conversations allows our friends to have the conversations with us, or gets it started somewhere, wherever it may be. As long as it's getting started, that's where I think we can really make that progress.
As we talk about this, they're reminders to both Paul and I, because we still slip up plenty. No matter where you're at. 3 years ago, I wasn't thinking about any of this stuff.
Right.
Today, I think about it a lot. And now that we're doing the podcast, I think about it a whole lot more.
All right, so like we said, we're going to hop into some of the things that we've either done or had people share with us that worked, or just kind of researched and found things that have worked. So first one we'll talk about, like we got into earlier, is reacting emotionally. That snap response, that tone shift, it can create the damage like we talked about earlier. The mindset shift is all about a pause, pattern, and interrupt. Create that bumper, create that distance. What's the practice you got for that one, man?
I mean, try this 3-second breath reset. Literally stop, breathe 3 times, and ask, what do they need the most from me right now? What does my wife, what does my kid need the most from me right now? And that question right there changes everything.
I love that, because it's not about me. It's not about us. It's about them. What do they need? Not what do I need?
And that's going to be a common theme on just about everything that I actually focus on. Is it's not about me.
Mm-hmm.
In life, that's a big part of my passion, part of my ministry. It's not about me. Then we talk about, we're just going to kind of rapid fire through these, like you said. Stress home. Work doesn't clock out just because we pull in the driveway, like we talked before, Paul. We carry it in unless we intentionally put it down. And the skill here is compartmentalization.
Mm-hmm. We talked about the activity that guy was hanging from the tree. Whatever it is, play a specific song in your drive home. Just use a short prayer. Take a deep breath in the car. Whatever can help you mentally shift from work mode to father mode to husband mode, whatever it is, find that for you and roll with it.
What do you got for feeling unappreciated?
Yeah, nobody sees what I do. How often have we felt that one, where you feel unappreciated, where you do so much around the house, no one sees it? That voice can get real loud. Yeah. You have a choice, right? That voice can be so loud. So what's the practice for this one?
You got to remind yourself, I chose this role, whether it's husband, father. All right, fixing instead of listening. We talked about, we jump right into problem solving, right? Trying to fix everything. But your wife and kids, they don't need a solution. They need to feel heard. And that's kind of empathetic listening comes in, right? That's what we call it, empathetic listening.
One simple trick here is to mirror back what they said before offering advice. That can just look like rephrasing what they said using your own words and giving that proper reflection of what are they really trying to say to me, or what do they want me to take away from this conversation. And that can make them feel so heard in that moment, but also takes you away from trying to feel like, I don't have to fix this. If I just reflect back to them, maybe that's all they wanted. Maybe they didn't want me to fix it. Maybe they just wanted me to listen.
And when you reflect back, they feel heard. We all want to be heard.
And another thing, we all do want to hear heard. And I think one thing that can really get us kind of in a trap is sometimes we want to feel heard, but we're too afraid to have that hard conversation. And this one can hit deep. Avoidance feels easier in the short term, but creates disconnection. And the skill we all need to have and pick up from this one is courageous leadership and courageous conversation, I would say.
If you just build it into your rhythm, right? A weekly check-in with your wife, with your kids, one-on-one time with each kid. Say if you have multiple kids. I know I have a lot of friends that have multiple kids and they spend wanting to do dates with each kid. I think those are great. That structure makes the hard conversations too, if you're going to have hard conversations, much less intimidating.
Oh man, we could have a whole episode on this because I think the one thing we fall into a lot of times is, hey, like if I came to you, hey Joey, there's something I want to talk to you about. That's scary. That's intimidating. You're like, whoa, what did I do wrong? Imagine take that to your spouse. They're freaking out. They're like, okay, this isn't good. What's going to happen in this conversation, right? But if you have that schedule, you have that structure where every night is Sunday night, we know we're going to have a conversation, and hard things may come up. Things that we didn't do as well as we wanted to may come up, but we know there's a space for it, and you can kind of prepare yourself for it instead of getting that anxiety of like 5 minutes to prepare for this conversation. Not to go too long on this one, because I think literally we could have a whole episode. But Eric Wooten, Relation Shots, I shouted him out a couple episodes ago. He calls it a relationship rhythm, where you have a business meeting per se for the marriage, a connection, 2 connection meetings, and just small ones, and then a date night. So it's like you have a time and place all week long for these things to happen. And like we said, that can take so much anxiety out of it.
I'm learning too. Those are things I've never would have even thought of. As we wrap up, every mindset mistake, it has a skill on the other side of it. You just got to train it. We talked about this before. The things we're talking about, these didn't just happen. We didn't just learn them, and we're getting better at them all the time.
Mm-hmm.
They are skills.
And just because we're saying them doesn't mean we're perfect at them. We're still trying to get better at them too as we go. And it's one of those things that as you continue to train the skill, you continue to change the atmosphere in your home. And that's one of the biggest things I think we all could try to take away from is the atmosphere and the energy that we bring into our home. It determines so much of everything. The way our kids will show up to stuff, the way our marriage is, like, it's the ownership piece, man. If you can't change that atmosphere, I don't know where things will go for you, but I know that you have the ability to do it. It's got to have the right open mindset for it. All right, to add to some of the practical skills, some things that work for us or work for others, is a morning focus. We talked last episode about a morning routine not being the greatest, but ask yourself in the morning, really dive into your mindset, who needs me to lead with love today? It's simple, but it's powerful. It's a journal prompt or prayer that you can put together and just keep track of it every day.
How about micro connection habits, like small habits? And it doesn't have to be grand, as we talked about. Doesn't have to be huge, but it needs to be consistent. And just try this. Make eye contact with each of your kids and your spouse every day, at least once a day. And then say one sentence, one word of encouragement to each of them.
Ooh, that's powerful, man. That's got some great framework to build something really powerful. I love that.
So that would be easy too.
Yeah. And you know what? You can build off that and ask them, how can I support you today? That one question, you can really open up the door as well.
And then an evening reset. So at the end of the day, reflect. I mean, ask yourself, what did I do well as a husband? What did I do well as a father today? Where do I want to grow tomorrow? And reflection, it resets your direction.
I'm not going to do an Australian accent because I would be terrible at it.
Mate.
But our buddy Matt, he's got a really powerful tool, man. And we're going to try to get him on here one day. He journals every single night and asks himself, did I show up as the man that I wanted to today? And I think it's more deeper than that. He's got follow-up questions too. But asking yourself in the morning, how do you need to show up? Who do you need to love that day? And asking yourself at night, did you do it? That's some great ownership right there.
These questions, guys, they don't just challenge you. They center you.
Oh,
So remember that.
absolutely.
It's challenging. It's good grounding. Shout out to Matt as well. Matt's the dude. Matt Croft. I'll say his last name. From down under, this dude he's the real deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's the real deal.
Spoiler, because he might be our only Australian listener, but Matt, you're going to
Right.
be on the show, Matt. You don't know it yet, but
Yes.
you're going to be.
He doesn't know it. He's definitely going to be on the show.
To
Go
build
ahead,
off the
Darren.
journaling stuff too, man, once a week, pull out that journal and ask yourself that hard stuff. Where have I been passive in my marriage? What kind of man do I want my kids to remember? And what would love do in that moment? Think about those. I don't want to derail us too much, man, but there was a social media thing, and it's not Peter Attia did this. He said, picture yourself at 87 years old, and you can only go back in time to one moment. And it's whatever moment you're in right there. So let's say you and Bobby are having a fight, or my kids are acting up, my house is chaos. You can only go back in time to that one moment. When you're 87 years old, that's the only opportunity you have. How do you want it to go? That can be so much easier said than done, but so powerful, because how do you want your kids to remember you? What would love do in this moment? What would empathy do in this moment? What would listening do in this moment? Stop trying to fix it. Sometimes just be present.
Wow. That makes me rethink a lot of moments in my life, right?
Oh, me too, man.
It's really good.
Again, we're just still shining light on stuff, man. I think it's something that as we go through this, we have just as much guilt as people probably do as well listening to it. It's just one of those things where if we're not shining a light on it, then who is?
Mic drop. Well, we're not finished though. Put a reminder where you'll see it, whether it's your front door, your mirror, bathroom mirror works for me. Sometimes I'll put a note on my rear view mirror so when I get in the car, it'll pop up a thought. I use my hands a lot when I talk. But remember to lead with love, something like that.
Mhm.
Listen before you speak. Show up on purpose. Something to cue you, something to remind you. I like visual anchors.
Those are big. And if you want to cover your arms in tattoos like I do,
Hey, that works too.
Right.
I got a few.
yeah,
Not like you though.
right. But it's just a reminder, man, when life pulls you off track, that reminder, that visual thing that you have can put you back on track.
Yes.
This one I know is near dear to you, the spiritual
Yeah.
anchor. Really, the faith is me as well, right? Faith is always a part of your leadership. Pick any kind of verse that speaks to you, that speaks over your family each week. One of my favorites, Joshua 24:15. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. This reminds me too, my buddy Percy, he came after the last episode, he said he has Proverbs 27:17 on his wrist. So it's like the power of verses, man, too, man. You shine a light on them, you talk about them, and it's like you can really find common ground and common connection over those.
I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. Philippians 4:13. My verse got me through a couple battles of cancer. It's got me through a lot more than that, though. And then, of course, our brotherhood, like you said, Proverbs 27:17 verse. It's just a classic. But yeah, those spiritual anchors are huge. Huge. Remember, guys, leadership at home, it's not just about big moments. It's the little stuff, but it's about being there, showing up.
Lead with love, check in with yourself, check in with your others, and remember that you set the tone. You are the heartbeat of your house.
So how we usually do a brotherhood challenge, Paul. I know what do you have for us for today?
Yeah, what's one shift you can make this week to lead your family with a stronger mindset, starting with your attitude, not your environment? This is all about extreme ownership. This is where you could find a place that you may be passively led, and how can you change that? Those intentional words backed by an intentional mindset.
Yeah, those Post-it notes on their bathroom mirror if you leave first. My wife works from home. I'll put a Post-it note on her monitor, not nearly often enough, but sometimes, or on her keyboard where she'll see it just as she starts her workday. Those things are huge. And to close us out, your family doesn't need a perfect man. We talked about that. They need a present, grounded, growth-minded man. Start at home, guys and gals, because mindset isn't what you know, but it is how you show up. Appreciate you all. This was a fun episode. It's a little longer than normal, but we had a lot to share. So I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe, and send us questions. Send us topics, whatever, something you might want to hear about.
I agree, man. We appreciate you guys. And as always, just keep showing up for your family. If you're not the man you want to be or the woman you want to be yet, keep stepping into that version of yourself every single day. It's a choice. And if you're not there yet, you can certainly make it happen.
Absolutely. Be blessed.
See you guys. Thanks for listening today. We don't take that for granted.
Your support matters. You're part of something much bigger, and we're thankful you're on this journey with us.
Stay strong, stay intentional, and know you're not walking this alone.
If this challenged you, Please share the impact. Growth is better together.
We'll see you next time on Brotherhood Forged.